Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Team Colleague with another video. Today, some more VGC 17 battles. So on the battle spot, but as you can read here, it's from the 2017 International Challenge for for April. So pretty much what it is, I think I participated in one of these back in February or something. But it's just an opportunity to earn championship points towards a VGC 17 Worlds invite. So I don't necessarily want the championship points. I just thought it would be fun to participate, see some new teams, a little bit more tryharding going on, because some people really are playing for those championship points. So it was pretty fun. I'm not gonna. I didn't do that many battles. I think I may have done 10 to 15, so not that many. I'm only gonna upload, I think, 4 battles total. So it's gonna be today, and then the next episode or the next upload, and then that'll be it for this team. But I wanted to use this team. I was thinking about whether or not I wanted to make a new team for this, but I was like, yeah, I'm really comfortable with this team. So I want to do somewhat decent with it. I will say I went up against so many Incineroars. I have no idea why. I think like 4 battles in a row I went up against Incineroar. I don't know why. I don't know. Somewhere must have made it super popular, but so many Incineroars in this. But my first opponent didn't have it. Well, enough ranting, I'll just get into the battle. My opponent had a team of Porygon 2, Celesteela, Alolan Marowak, Gigalith, Slowbro, and Hariyama. So, my opponent not bringing Hariyama here because of the Psychic Drain. So, he just get knocked out with a Psychic, or even a Moonblast, or Dazzling Gleam might even do the tricks in some specs. I was thinking whether he'd lead Porygon 2 or Slowbro. I was thinking he'd lead Slowbro, since it's a little bit, I don't know. I was thinking since I do have Gyarados and Garchomp and the likes, he'd lead with Slowbro. But I guess he didn't, since he was expecting a Lele Drifblim lead here. So, and then the Celesteela is, well, I was thinking that's why I lead my Magnezone here, is to be, I'm not going to bring Drifblim if this is a hard Trick Room team. He doesn't even have any fast Pokemon. So there's no point in setting up Tailwind. I'm probably going to outspeed everything on his team anyways. So Magnezone is going to be good here. I was thinking he'd lead Slowbro so I could Z-move it right off the bat. I bring Gyarados here since he has pretty much all physical attackers, so Intimidates will be really important here. And the Pheromosa just in case he does bring Porygon 2. And even then, against Gigalith, it's pretty good. Against Slowbro, it's pretty good. It's just kind of pretty good against this matchup. So I lead Lele Magnezone, and he leads Porygon 2 Celesteela. So not what I was expecting, but I'm still pretty happy about this. So it's highly unlikely that he has Slowbro in the back, since Slowbro would just be a Trick Room setup Pokemon. So there's not really, if he has Porygon 2 and Slowbro on the same team, he's not going to have much offensive pressure. So I was really surprised to see the Protect here from Porygon 2. I went for the Psychic into that slot, trying to get off damage, and I just go straight for the Z move into Celesteela, since it's highly unlikely he has Slowbro in the back. And even if he does, I'll be able to handle it pretty well, since, like I said, he's not going to have much offensive pressure, especially with the Slowbro and a Porygon 2 on the field at the same time. Not much going on there. So he was definitely protecting heavy slamming the Lele, but since he didn't, and even if he protected Celesteela, the next turn I could come in with a Thunderbolt and pick up the knockout anyways. So I was really happy with that. I was really happy with my lead. So he's going to bring in his Gigalith here. I'm like, okay, that's not too bad. Unless if he's got a ground type move, his Gigalith's not going to be able to touch me. And I was like, I could set up the Magnet Rise here, but I definitely wanted to pick up the knockout here on Porygon 2. And he switches out. I'm like, wait, why would he switch out if he just brought it in? So, and it's actually going to read the Alolan Marowak. So Psychic in the Porygon 2, that does a lot of damage. And I went for Thunderbolt, because it does more than Flash Cannon, so my opponent making a good prediction there, making me think that a Thunderbolt would be safe in the Porygon 2, but it is definitely unsafe since he has Lightning Rod. So that's going to be a trick I'm getting up for him. I don't know if Thunderbolt would have been able to pick up the knockout. I don't think it would have, but I mean, it's still free HP for his Porygon 2, plus his Marowak's in a really good spot, because it threatens KOs on both my Pokemon. So I'm going to switch out my Lele here. I do want it in the back, and then I'm also going to get an Intimidate off here. onto this Marowak, which, I mean, if I can take out the Marowak, I'm going to be in a really good spot. So we see another Protector from the Porygon 2. He's probably predicting a Psychic into that slot, and we're going to see the Shadow Bone into the Gyarados, and that's going to do under half. So that's really good. He protects it from the Flash Cannon, so I don't know how I feel. I mean, I feel like that's the best turn I could have had, but it's still not solving all that much, because this Porygon 2 could have Thunderbolt. It's got Protect. I mean, that means most likely you're not going to have Recover. We've seen Protect and Trick Room already, so it's going to be tricky for him. I Protect here with Magnezone. I'm thinking he's going to go into that slot with Marowak. So sure enough, we do see the Flare Blitz. And from Porygon 2, the Discharge. I was like, wow, it's an interesting tech move. I mean, I guess it makes sense, especially since he does, or if he has Marowak. So I'm like, that's definitely going to pay up the knockout in the Gyarados. And Gyarados is getting nothing done here. So that's pretty bad, since Gyarados was a good answer to his Marowak and Gigalith. But at least his Marowak now is at -1. And if he switches it out, then just wasting a turn of Trick Room. So I bring him back in my Lele here. And I mean, here I'm almost done stalling out Trick Room. So I'm deciding what I want to do. So sure enough, he goes for Flare Blitz in the Magnezone, which is going to bring me down to 1 HP. And I'm going to endure with Sturdy. But he gets the burn. I'm like, you got to be kidding me, man. You have got to be kidding me. So Porygon 2, Ice Beam. So now we know it's full moveset. So he actually double targeted into the Magnezone. Maybe he was predicting a switch, or also covering the fact that I just protected and I have Sturdy. So I went for Psychic there into Marowak. It's a big knockout for me because the sand's not over yet. So Gigalith's not going to be able to reset the sand and get his huge special defense boost. So the Psychic Train's going to disappear, which is unfortunate. My Psychics aren't going to be quite as powerful. But I am Specs, so it's kind of going to make up for it. So I got to be really, really careful with Pheromosa here, since both of his Pokemon do have Protect. And so here, Heavy Slam into Lele. Gonna barely hold on. And Ice Beam into Pheromosa. It's not even gonna bring me down to my Focus Sash. So I kind of was thinking, I didn't know what I wanted to do from I went for High Jump Kick there. It was a risky play. I should have gone for the U-turn, because that would have picked up the knockout and I would have gotten the Beast Boost. So Sandstorm's going to subside here, so it's pretty much over. Unless if, because since he's the slowest Pokemon on the field, it doesn't even matter. Because another Psychic will do the trick, because he's no longer going to have his special defense boosted. And I go for U-turn as well, just because I don't want to. I was thinking he'd protect, or I don't want to miss the High Jump Kick. Just guaranteed damage off. But +1 U-turn into the Gigalith, not going to be enough. But Psychic definitely going to be able to finish up that knockout. So, pretty close game. Him getting Trick Room up was pretty big. And then Gyarados just going down for free was pretty bad. I don't know. I mean, it was pretty bad, but I don't know if I would have changed that, though. Just because that Intimidate really helped take down that Marowak. I guess I could have, like, maybe double protected, but and then just to stall the Trick Room more. But I'm still happy with the way that turned out. Luckily, the Celesteela didn't get to stay around for long, because if it would have gotten a Heavy Slam off in that way, that would have been a completely different game. So, pretty sloppy, I guess, since I'm not used to not bringing Drifblim. It was a little different of a setup, but I still feel like I did pretty well, all in all. Not perfect, but still good. And it was good practice using the team outside of Tailwind without Drifblim, where I'm super comfortable just doing that over and over. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the next battle. My opponent this time had Tapu Koko, Gyarados, Celesteela, Garchomp, Alolan Marowak, and Porygon 2. So very interesting to see someone else with Gyarados and Garchomp. Really powerful Pokemon. But here I definitely want to bring Magnezone. It's going to be really good against the Tapu Koko. It's going to be good against the Gyarados. It's going to be good against the Celesteela. Pretty good against Porygon 2. So it's going to be huge offensive pressure. And again, I don't want to bring Garchomp. I mean, it is going to be good against his Garchomp, his Marowak, and Tapu Koko. But I was like, I don't want to bring both my Z Crystals, so I'll bring Gyarados instead, who's still going to be good against Tapu Koko under Tailwind, or if I can get like a two Dragon Dances set up. But I want the Intimidate as well to be able to help me out. So, and then my standard Lele Drifblim, he has no form of speed control except for maybe the Porygon 2. I mean, he had that slow mode with the Alolan Marowak and Porygon 2, but I didn't think he'd bring it, and Pheromosa wasn't too good against his team, so I decided not to bring it. So we see the shiny Gyarados, meaning it most likely has Bounce. So I don't really know. Well, I guess it's a stab move, but I still don't think like a Z Bounce is really that good when you could just go like a Z Hydro Protect or like a Z Waterfall with Gyarados. But some people prefer what they prefer. So I'm going to get the terrain set up. He gets the Intimidate stuff, which aren't going to do anything. And I'm going to get Psychic Seed Pop. So here I just go straight for the Tailwind. I don't see any reason not to. And we're going to see Skydrop here. So this is disgusting because at the beginning of the turn, his Tapu Koko was faster than my Lele. But now my Lele is going to be faster than his Tapu Koko. So it's actually 2 wasted turns from that Skydrop. So pretty disgusting. His Gyarados starts sitting up, so I go for the Will-O-Wisp and greatly reduce its damage output. And the Skydrop comes out, and you're going to see it does nothing. It's going to be quad resisted. So, and here's the Z bounce that I was talking about. So, I mean, I don't really think it's that good. I think like a Z waterfall better, but maybe he has a problem with grass types or fighting types. But he's going to go for Supersonic Sky Strike and the Lele. I'm going to eat that up thanks to the burn. So not much has happened. I mean, you look, all the Pokemon are relatively healthy except for Tapu Lele. But I do want Lele around, so I'm going to bring in Magnezone in case he goes for the electric type move or whatever. So Gyarados is going to go for Protect here. And I went for Shadow Ball into Tapu Koko. I want to whittle it down slowly. And you're going to see that does nothing. So I'm like, I wonder if this is going to be Assault Vest Tapu Koko then. Because that was very little damage. From what we've seen, my Shadow Ball does around 50%. So very little damage. So here, with the Skydrop, I'm like, well, I'll just go for a Shadow Ball on the Gyarados. Get a little bit of chip damage off. And there's a Skydrop. Unfortunately, that's going to break my Sturdy, and you're going to see it does nothing because it's resisted. But here comes the Waterfall, which is not going to do anything either. So, I mean, this is one of those bad situations where nothing is really happening on the field. So, I mean, in the position I'm in, I actually, even since the beginning, I've had a better field position than my opponent, but the Skydrop Tapu Koko is super annoying. So I actually get another Tailwind set up just because nothing's happened. And you see Drifblim's still at full health because he doesn't really have a way of touching my Drifblim. His waterfalls aren't even going to be doing 50%. So now, finally, I'm going to be able to get something off with Magnezone. So he's going to Protect with Gyarados, which isn't much of a surprise there. So here I'm like, I've pretty much confirmed that his Tapu Koko is Assault Vest, so it's not going to be able to Protect. So I double target it. I don't pick up the Knockout, but I did get lots of damage into it. I predicted the Protect from Gyarados successfully, and here comes the Discharge, and you see it's not going to do anything. So big turn for me. Tapu Koko is almost gone. I mean, I can basically pick up with a double knockout here with Thunderbolt, Shadow Ball. So interestingly enough, he switches out his Tapu Koko. Maybe he wants to reset the terrain. But I just went for the Shadow Ball into that slot. And you see, that does more than it did Tapu Koko. So that definitely had to be an Assault Vest. And Waterfall almost picks up the knockout, but I am going to be able to pick up the knockout on Gyarados with the Thunderbolt. So all of a sudden, I find myself in a much better position than my opponent does. So we're going to see the leftovers on the Celesteela, but I still have my Z Crystal, which will be able to pick up the knockout on Celesteela. And all of a sudden, here comes the Garchomp. So, I mean, you see Drifloon's still super healthy. He's kind of... I mean, he's not really dead weight because he's still helping out a lot. But there's not much my opponent can do to him, and there's not much my opponent has to fear except for some Will-O-Wisps. So since he's got 2 physical attackers here, I'm still in a good spot with Drifloon. So he's going to protect Celesteela, predicting the Will-O-Wisp into that slot. So good prediction by my opponent. And we see Fire Fang, and I was like, oh wow, so this is going to be a Fang. So I got to keep it. I got to be careful of that, because that could mean that he can also have Thunder Fang and Ice Fang. So Thunder Fang obviously would do a lot of damage to my Gyarados. So conveniently, my Tailwind peters out, so that gives me an opportunity to protect and set up Tailwind again. So this is my 3rd Tailwind of the battle. So that's just kind of goes to show how long of a battle it is. And we see Swords Dance here. I'm like, oh great, that's the last thing I wanted to see, especially since Waylay is going to be my only way of taking it out. So Leech Seed from Celesteela, so it's most likely going to be a stall one, which makes sense with the leftovers. But he hasn't set up a substitute yet, so I don't know exactly what we're going to see from it. So, I mean, you see lots of protects going around. I mean, not much is really happening. I went for Will-O-Wisp from the Garchomp because I did see that Swords Dance, and Celesteela is not really threatening much damage. And I also go for the Dragon Dance onto Gyarados. I mean, it's like an arms race here. Not much damage is getting spread around. So Gyarados gets the Avoid with the Leech Seed. So, I mean, at the end of the day, that's just going to be chip damage because Celesteela is not even taking any damage here. So I set up a Rain Dance here to boost my Waterfall into Garchomp just because I need to get rid of it. I don't know. I don't know if it has Thunder Fang or not, but he's only at +1. But I still want to get rid of it. I don't want to. So he barely hangs on. That's about like what 10% health. So and he's actually going to set up another Swords Dance. So I'm like, okay, perfect. That's perfect. He was probably predicting the Will-O-Wisp there, so he's like, oh yeah, I'll just be at +3, and even though I'll be Will-O-Wisp, I'll still do tons of damage. So huge turn right there. Now his Gyarados is useless, and I just go for the Will-O-Wisp into Celesteela. So if it goes for another Heavy Slam, it won't do as much damage, and the Waterfall into Garchomp. So he doesn't even bother protecting because he realizes his Garchomp is gone. So huge play right there. That's why I decided to put Rain Dance on Drifloon to be able to power up Gyarados when necessary. So he is going to get Leech Seeded, but like I said, Celesteela is at full health. It's just going to be chip damage on Gyarados. It looks like his only offensive move is going to be the Heavy Slam, which is going to do nothing to Gyarados. So Tailwind's going to peter out yet again, and we're going to see Tapu Koko come back in. So the terrain's going to be set up, which is perfect for me because I have Tapu Lele in the back with my own terrain. And then it's also got Thunderbolt. So I'm going to protect, and I'm going to set up the 4th Tailwind of the game. So this one's been a long, drawn-out battle. But, I mean, I think it was a big mistake for my opponent leaving Drifloon on the field this long, just because those Tailwinds are huge. So he's going to go for the Leech Seed and the Drifloon, just because he's not going to have much way of damaging me, because I think Celesteela is at -1 plus the burn, so it's not doing anything. So since I have Waylay in the back, I think, or pretty much if I can bring in, actually I also have my Magnezone in the back, so if I could just knock out Koko and then bring in Magnezone with the terrain up, a Thunderbolt will do the trick. So we know Koko has no Protect, so I just go for the Shadow Ball there since I outspeed. And I'm just going to set up a little bit with Dragon Dance just because I want to be able to get damage off quickly. So he goes for the Leech Seed into Drifloon. I think that's the 2nd Avoid in a row. So, I mean, my opponent, there's not much hope for him. I have Stab, Terrain Boosted Thunderbolt waiting, and then I also have Choice Specs Thunderbolt waiting in the back. So my opponent's going to end up forfeiting just because he realizes it's over. It's a 4v1. And it is Celesteela, but at the end of the day, Celesteela is not that strong. So I wonder what his fourth move was, because we saw Protect, Leech Seed, and Heavy Slam. If it was Substitute, I think... Well, I guess... I guess he should have set it up because he was getting that HP recovery, but that was a 4-time Tailwind. I set up Tailwind 4 times in that battle. But you guys can kind of see there, my opponent had a team of, in my opinion, very little offense. I mean, I guess he had the Swords Dance Garchomp, yeah, the Dragon Dance Gyarados, but at the same time he had Tapu Koko, Assault Vest Tapu Koko, and you saw how little damage it was doing, especially outside of terrain, and then Celesteela, which is just going to stall. So it didn't really flow well as a team, because imagine he had even like his +2 Garchomp next to that Celesteela. I mean, Garchomp, yeah, is going to be fire, not super strong earthquakes, but what's the Celesteela going to be doing? Like, it's not like the Celesteela can block damage onto the Garchomp. So it was kind of sitting there doing nothing. So I feel like he could have had like a better, more offensive team. Especially, I mean, Skydrop Tapu Koko, fine. Good, but not with Celesteela. So I feel like I played that one pretty well, though. And then he made plenty of mistakes not trying to take out my Drifblim. Just let me get off Tailwind, 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 Tailwind. So, very interesting one. I don't think I've set up Tailwind 3 times before. I may have set it up twice, but not 3 times. Little one 4 times. So, good battles. I feel like I played them pretty well. So, could have here. This one was a little bit longer just because that second battle is like 16, 18 turns long or something. So, one more upload with this team, and then we'll be moving on to a new one. So if you have any suggestions for me for a new team, let me know. But that's going to be it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.